Alright, here's a quick stat about Portugal. They lost their opening game in qualifying, right? And then they hired Santos, who came in as their head coach. And then they won the remainder of those qualifying games by one single goal, scoring measly 11 goals in 7 games in qualifying. Then they go on to the Euros and they draw 6 of their games and win 1 within 90 minutes. And then they go on and win the Euro 2016. Now, is that a coincidence? Is that luck? It's strategy. For those that are complaining about this game, I'll go on to the recap. Welcome, by the way, to TYT Sports. But if you're complaining that this game wasn't everything you imagined it to be, do some research. Look into the team that's playing. Portugal were always going to set up with this game plan, with Ronaldo or without Cristiano Ronaldo. This is how they've played the tournament. So for those that are complaining, Steve McManaman on ESPN, I don't think the best team won. They're not worthy champions. You're just bitter, a bitter English commentator, a team with strategy. You wouldn't be complaining if that was England, my friend. You would not be complaining one bit. Portugal deserve the credit. They have not won a major tournament. First time they beat France in 41 years, and they win this tournament. They win Euro 2016. It wasn't a pretty tournament overall. And if you're going to complain that there wasn't a worthy winner, then why don't you turn that frustration, that complaining, and put it to those that deserve to be complaining against, those that deserve the criticism. Your £100 million signings or prospects. Don't make me laugh. I would rather take Pogba's brother, who plays with Partick Thistle, than £100 million for that player. He is talented. He has got all of the essential tools, but we are once again putting a price tag on a prospect. Proved nothing in this tournament. Nothing. So if you want to blame anyone, don't sit and blame the team. Don't blame Cristiano Ronaldo, who so sadly was injured and didn't get to partake in this tournament. But my God, did he do his part for Portugal overall. Don't sit there and blame him because he gets to raise that trophy. Yeah, you may be a Lionel Messi fanboy, but I'm a realist. I'm here to tell you what you have to hear, not what the analysts who want pretty football all the time will tell you. This tournament has went this way. Portugal, yes, if the rules stayed the way they did last year, they wouldn't have even been in the tournament, because they were third place, but they got the luck of the bracket and they played against their opponents one game at a time, and they relied on individual brilliance from their goalkeeper Rui Patricio. Phenomenal tournament from Pepe. He deserves that trophy more than anyone in that team. And then you bring on someone like Eder, who was snubbed by Swansea, not deemed good enough, and he bangs in a shot from 30 plus yards to win the tournament. That's football, my friends. That is football. That is what happens in this beautiful game. That's why we love it, and at times we hate it. At the moment, France fans hate it, and you have every right to hate it. But you can't blame a team that plays anti-football because you had so many opportunities to win that game. Gignac, who isn't even fit to wear a Celtic B jersey, to be honest, smacks the post. Yeah, he does well to work his body, but he's ineffective. Didier Deschamps deserves some of all of your complaints going towards him. Why is Martial coming on in the extra time, the dying moment, someone who's a little bit more positive going forward? Because Giroud didn't work, so then you bring on the exact same type of player, big body in there to win headers. Nah, you got to be a good coach. You got to be a coach like Santos, who understands that, alright, our best goal scorer, our best potential opportunity of winning this game in regular time or even extra time with a goal goes off. So what am I going to do? Going to bring on Quaresma. I'm going to push Nani a little bit higher up, giving him a little bit of man management. Try to utilise his ability to cause some frustration in the inexperience. I talked about that in tactics. Umtiti and Koscielny, they don't play together often. Umtiti's very young and inexperienced. So what do? You put someone on him to try and cause some confusion in there. And once France ran out of options, Portugal grew in confidence. Was I the only one that was sitting there and thinking Portugal can go on and win this? They don't have to wait to penalty kicks because France threw everything and the kitchen sink at Portugal. And heroic defending, heroic goalkeeping allow for Portugal to come back into this game. And then Eder gets the opportunity. Umtiti gives him too much room. His strength is to get away and bang in the bottom corner. And even before that, they could have won it. It could have been a blessing that Cristiano Ronaldo went out because it allowed Rafael, who's been great at left back, to bang a free kick off the bar. Both teams so close hitting the woodwork. But that's football. You can't sit here and criticise the champions who won the tournament because they weren't the prettiest champions. They played whoever they were up against and they used strategy, which, as I just proved there with the case study in front of you, look at their past run of games. This wasn't a one-off approach. This is how they were going to approach the game with or without the star man. Alright, so now that I've got that out of the way, I hope you really listened through that. Didn't just go to the comment and unleashed hell on me because you're a France fan or an anti-Cristiano Ronaldo fan, whatever you may be. Just listen to the words and look into the facts, and you'll understand that this is the way this game is going to pan out. If you don't understand that, you're probably the same guys that watched Maypac and was expecting a knockout. It was never going to happen. All right, so Portugal having to play up against the highest amount of adversity when your captain, a man who scored 3 goals in the tournament, brought you off life support against Hungary, big goal against Wales, goes down injured. And whether you are a Ronaldo hater, whatever you may be, I want to state this again. You're not a football fan if you're happy to see Cristiano Ronaldo go off the park, whether you're a France fan or whether you're anyone else. Cristiano Ronaldo limping off in one of the biggest games in his career, one of the biggest games in the world's footballing world, whatever it will be, one of the big games of world's football world, one of the biggest games in world football. You don't want to see one of the best players to have ever played the game go off and miss out. That's a sad sight to see. I wasn't happy to see him go off. It was hard to watch him in tears. It was hard to watch him try, come back again, be frustrated and go off. We don't know the full extent of the injury. Let's just hope that he's not out for too long. I'm sure Real Madrid will be sitting impatiently waiting on the news because they want to know what's going on with Ronaldo and whether he's going to bounce back for them. But Santos made adjustments based on that decision. In Portugal, they weathered the storm that was early on. France did the exact same thing against Germany. They hit them with high tempo early on. And then Griezmann was able to come into the game. They got a penalty kick, which I think eased some of the tension after that. But against Portugal, I did state this. Again, I don't just like to reiterate these points because I understand. I predicted France to win this tournament at the start. When it came to the preview on the channel, Tactics Preview, I thought Portugal were going to win it in penalties. I thought it was going to go the distance. But I understood that this would be a hard game for France because they had to step outside of their comfort zone. They had to make decisions that didn't fit them the same way they did against Germany. Portugal were France against Germany. The exact same scenario. They just had to weather the storm, absorb the pressure, and pick their moments to go forward. France ran out of ideas. Where is the talent? Where is the Paul Pogbas of the world stepping up to the plate? Griezmann, I couldn't believe the chances he missed. This is easily one of the most talented players in the world, the most talented player on France's team, and he missed clear opportunities for them. That header is one that he would tuck home. It was a great save from Rui Patricio early on. The header was almost reminiscent of a Robin van Persie World Cup header flicking it over the keeper. Great save from that moment on, but persistent defending from Pepe and Font in there just to try and usher players into uncomfortable positions. Kingsley Coman came on and did a little bit of life for a brief moment. But from that moment on, I really didn't see France causing any problems. I only thought that the only option they would have is from a corner or a set piece, and they were unlucky in certain opportunities. But Portugal grew with confidence, and going forward, I feel like they were always going to be the one who was going to have the opportunity to go forward and win the game. And they did. And I cannot sit here and complain that the best team didn't win this competition, because after all, sometimes that's football. The best team doesn't always win. But Cristiano Ronaldo lifts the first major trophy in the history for Portugal, an Eder finish, who obviously stole the headlines for that, but Cristiano Ronaldo deserves a lot of the credit for this team. Eusebio couldn't do it, Luis Figo couldn't do it, but Cristiano Ronaldo could, and that puts him right up there with the world's best. And I want to know your thoughts. I'm going to go into more detail as it comes, but I just hope that you aren't masked by some of the pundits who just aren't fans of Portugal and aren't fans of anti-football, because I guarantee those same pundits were fans when Chelsea did it in the Champions League, were fans when Inter Milan did it. But Portugal, they basically played who was in front of them, did what they could to survive, and they won this tournament. So hit us in the comment section below on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.